Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well. It does not matter. It does not matter who the host is. Today is, let's see, what day is it? It's Thursday, November the 11th of 2021, day 315th of the year. And only 50 days remaining and left to go before we get you out of here. Yes, out of here. What do I mean by out of here? Well, out of 2021, that's the case. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from our undisclosed studios out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, maybe it's not the middle of nowhere. Who knows? So anyways, we're broadcasting across the multiverse of Safety FM, and then we're also hanging out with our friends and our colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at, you know.
Radio.
Yes, we are hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm. Anyway, so thanks for coming by on this lovely Thursday. As you are aware, or might not be aware, depending on where you kind of fall with the show, we are a show that talks a little bit about everything that's going on inside of the world. And then from there, we kind of come back, hang out, do the things that we do. But also at the same time, we bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. And then we kind of move forward, move around, and do all that kind of fun stuff. And then from that particular portion, I come back and give you my lingo that sounds more like bingo. That's for sure. But before we get you into our Friends at Feature Story news, let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of the world real quick, because that's going to be importante. So let's go from there. So trending today in honor of him being named this year's sexiest man alive by People magazine, here are some, I'm not going to play the clips, but there are some clips of Paul Rudd busting a move. There's an appearance on David Letterman. There's also him being featured on Syncing Up with the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, that if you have not seen that, the Syncing Up with Jimmy Fallon, you have to go, you need to drop out and go take a look at it, because it's just that good, realistically. And then what else? And then lastly, who forgot about him dancing on the clips of Anchorman 2? So if you're a Paul Rudd fan, go back and take a look. Now, here's the funny part, is that the sexiest man alive, according to, People magazine this year, debuted on a movie that you might not be kind of familiar with. But the movie that he debuted on was The Curse of Michael Myers. Yes, Halloween 6 is essentially where Paul Rudd made his debut inside of cinema. So that's something to think about as we are talking right now. Anyway, so let's get you to our friends and some feature story news, because I always think that that portion could be super important. So let's get you moving and grooving and all that kind of fun stuff, because, you know, who doesn't want some news in their life if they can't get a hold of it? You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Coronavirus cases continue to climb in Germany as lawmakers prepare to consider whether new restrictions are needed to slow the spread. Health officials are sounding the alarm at the virus resurgence as they work to prepare the hospital system for a difficult winter. From Berlin, Trent Murray.
For the third day in a row, Germany has broken its all-time daily record of COVID-19 cases, with over 50,000 new infections logged Thursday, up from almost 40,000 the day before. It confirms the resurgence, which is gripping Europe's biggest economy, is accelerating. Hospitals across the country have begun cancelling day surgeries because of patient pressures. The number of ICU beds available are now at their lowest they have been throughout the pandemic.
I want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you can get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com for more information. Lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Coronavirus cases continue to climb in Germany as lawmakers prepare to consider whether new restrictions are needed to slow the spread. Health officials are sounding the alarm at the virus resurgence as they work to prepare the hospital system for a difficult winter. From Berlin, Trent Murray.
For the third day in a row, Germany has broken its all-time daily record of COVID-19 cases, with over 50,000 new infections logged Thursday. Up from almost 40,000 the day before, it confirms the resurgence, which is gripping Europe's biggest economy, is accelerating. Hospitals across the country have begun cancelling day surgeries because of patient pressures. The number of ICU beds available are now at their lowest they have been throughout the pandemic, and one of the country's leading virologists has said new lockdown measures are going to be required in order to slow the spread, something lawmakers will discuss in a special parliamentary session held Thursday. Trent Murray, Berlin.
Tens of thousands of care home staff in England who haven't had 2 doses of the COVID vaccine will be unable to legally work from today. Care groups have been calling for the deadline to be extended to avoid labour shortages. Workers can be moved into non-frontline roles. India's promised to work towards selling only zero-emission cars by 2040. The country's stopped short of fully committing to end vehicular pollution by 2035, Ishan Garg reports.
Following the pledge at COP26, India has launched an online portal called e-Amrit. Officials say it's intended to push the adoption of electric vehicles, which currently form only 2% of all vehicles sold in the country. India has committed to making a third of all passenger vehicles and 3/4 of all commercial vehicles electric by 2030. But experts say low EV adoption is a major challenge. Due to lack of an extensive charging network and high cost of electric vehicles, many in the country still prefer fossil fuel-driven vehicles. They account for nearly 15% of all air pollution in the country. Experts believe officials should start small and focus on transitioning the country's hundreds of millions of two-wheeled vehicles to electric vehicles first. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
Japan's new Foreign Minister, Yoshimasa Hayashi, says it's important to build constructive and stable ties with China. His appointment to the top post has caused friction in the ruling Liberal Democratic Party among conservative lawmakers who see him as being too pro-Beijing. Phoebe Amoroso reports from Tokyo.
Hayashi was known for heading a non-partisan lawmakers group that promotes Japan-China relations, but he said on Thursday that he was stepping down to avoid any unnecessary misunderstanding. He said Japan should work towards a strong relationship with China. The former education minister is a close ally of Prime Minister Kishida. Kishida has stressed the need for strengthening dialogue with Japan's neighbour. Phoebe Amoroso, Tokyo.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, taking another look today at the migrant crisis along the Belarusian border with Poland. Thousands of people have massed there in an effort to seek resettlement in the European Union. But who are they? Where did they come from? And how did they get there?
These people came from different countries, from Lebanon, from Syria. Also, there are some Afghans there.
Franek Vyachorka is a senior advisor to Belarusian opposition leader Svetlana Tikhanovskaya.
They bought the tour packages, and right now they are waiting to be delivered to the border. They are also hostages. They are also victims of Lukashenko's regime because they believed he can really deliver them to Germany, but it didn't happen. They just became the weapon against the EU.
With the crisis intensifying, he says the Belarusian opposition is doing all it can to ensure the EU now holds President Alexander Lukashenko accountable.
It's very important that the EU countries will stay united and will make a very strong response to Lukashenko. This is the guy who understands only the language of force. So we hope on Monday there will be a strong round of sanctions, and we hope the US also will support the sanctions.
He's been speaking from Prague, where he's been lobbying Czech officials. Svetlana Tikhanovskaya herself is in Germany, meeting the country's incoming Chancellor, Olaf Scholz. Humanitarian conditions at the border are rapidly worsening. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, coronavirus cases have hit another daily record in Germany as lawmakers consider whether new restrictions are needed. Tens of thousands of care home staff in England who haven't had 2 COVID vaccine doses are unable to legally work from today. India's promised to work towards selling only zero-emission cars by 2040, and Japan's new foreign minister says it's important to build constructive and stable ties with China. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. And they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes.
2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Cool. Very cool. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the news and apparently inside of the world of our network in regards of the sound quality for the feature story of the news. Sounded like, well, it didn't sound that great, so sorry about all that mess, but hopefully it's getting taken care of from this particular point on, so we get to hang out and do the things that we do. Anyways, it is currently 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Here we go. So I don't know. What do you have planned? Do you have anything going on? Do you have anything that you think that it's going to be important? Do you think that you have anything going on that is super crucial whatsoever of everything that is going on? Because I don't know. I don't ever know on the things that are happening. So there you go. Anyway, so let's get into some news right away because these things are always important to talk about, move around, and all that kind of fun stuff. If we're not talking about the news, what exactly are we talking about? Who even knows? Anyways, let's go for it right now. A Southern California couple has filed a lawsuit against a Los Angeles-based fertility clinic that implanted their embryos into another woman, and they received the other couple's embryos. So there you go. The mistake resulted in a life-changing mix-up for the two families who unknowingly gave birth to children that weren't theirs and raised them for several months. A DNA test months after the birth proved that the switch had taken place, leading to the lawsuit. The suit claims that the clinic and the lab that how they handled the embryos acted recklessly and negligently, and knowingly lost or actively decided to give the couple's embryos to another couple. So, I mean, I guess that puts a little swerve onto it. The couple's attorney noted that the long-term consequences of the baby swap and how it will forever haunt the two families. The couple is seeking unspecified damages in a jury trial. No word whether the couple also has if the other couple has filed a lawsuit. So here's a question for you real quick. Being as now your husband has carried, or let me rephrase that, somebody that you didn't know carried your husband's sperm inside of their eggs that was implanted in you, and vice versa. And I probably should not chuckle or smile when I'm saying this. Why not have the conversation of, hey, maybe we should just become friends? And you know that you can have that close thing of what's going on, because you know everything did just dramatically change. Everything just changed for I don't know if it's for the better, but it changed everything for sure. So it's something to think about. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. Some people might not love that idea, but it is something to think about altogether. Just saying.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world real quick. COVID-19 death and cases are dropping everywhere except Europe. Death rose by 10% in Europe last week, making it the sixth consecutive week that cases have gone up across the continent. The WHO reports, and not the band, of course, that in the Americas, weekly cases have fell by 5%, and the death declines by 14%. And the U.S. reporting is the highest numbers according to Health organizations. Worth noting, deaths have also been declining in the Southeast Asia and Africa despite the lack of vaccine in those regions. So there you go. I don't know. It's just definitely some things to think about. I know some people are not going to like that in regards on how I mention it, but hey, it is something to talk about as we are going around and around and around and around and around. So that's the way that the cookie crumbles on that one. So anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this lovely world of ours, because it's always important to do so. So what else do we have here on the other side? Food banks across the country are struggling to feed families. Surging food prices and supply chain issues have led to families getting smaller servings in substitution on staples such as peanut butter. What substitutions for peanut butter? Is peanut butter a staple at your house? I mean, I don't know. What else do we got? With the holidays around the corner, some food banks are concerned that they won't have enough of the basics for Thanksgiving and Christmas meals. Kate Waters, a spokesperson for the USDA, said that the fact that the schools are open and offering free lunches and in some cases free breakfast helps the situation. This sounds good, but schools are only able to offer what is delivered to them, which, also has affected the supply chain issues. Now, let's be realistic. We keep on hearing about supply chain issues. I mean, yesterday in particular, we were talking about the whole thing related to Elf on a Shelf. I mean, Elf on a Shelf, the holiday go-to. And I mean, let's kind of like put this in category of importance of stuff. We know that that's not super as important, but it is something to talk about. It is something that we have to make a reference of the sequence of events here. It is something that people look forward to in regards of, hey, this is important to me. I want to have my little elf on the shelf that I can actually hang out and give to my child. But I look at it and go, this might not be one of those things that you can do this year. And that's not important. The important part is the whole food aspect. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be interesting as we start and continue to have some of these conversations going forward. Anyways, here we go. 22 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some other things that are going on inside of this lovely world of ours that are all too important. Hershey's Co. is getting salty. The Pennsylvania company is purchasing North Dakota-based Dots Pretzels LLC and Pretzels Inc., an Indiana-based manufacturer of Dots Pretzels that operates 3 plants for about $1.2 billion. Dots began more than a decade ago. The founder, Dot Henke's Kitchen, the company's fastest growing pretzel brand in the U.S. The deal is expected to close later this year. So do you think that we're going to start getting chocolate-covered pretzels directly from the source? Because I definitely think that might be a thing. Some things to think about for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking. Scott Fairlamb, 44, a New Jersey gym owner who punched a police officer during a January 6th attack of the U.S. Capitol, was sentenced yesterday to more than 3 years in prison. Scott was the first person to be sentenced for assaulting a law officer. Shouldn't it be a law enforcement officer, not a law officer? I mean, I don't even know what that means there. That's for sure. His sentence is the longest amongst the 32 rioters-related sentences that were handed out so far. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking on this lovely, lovely, lovely Thursday. Anyways, let's get into some Market Beat Minute because it is that time to do so. Here's some Johnny Smalls coming your way.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Thursday, November 11th, 2021. Equities pulled back on Wednesday following hotter than expected CPI data. The S&P 500 and Dow Jones Industrial Average shed less than 1% each at the low of the day and were led by a much bigger decline in the NASDAQ Composite. The CPI, or Consumer Price Index, jumped 0.9% over the last month, 0.3% hotter than expected, driving the year-over-year increase to 6.2%. And that's a faster year-over-year pace than we've had in over 3 decades. At this pace, and without definitive FOMC action, consumers can expect to pay significantly more for products of all varieties over the next 12 months. With the earnings season largely wrapped up and the CPI data out, the next big hurdle for the market will be next week's retail sales data. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one. Thank you for the information. Not always the information that you want to hear, but information that's actually going on. So here's what we found on our neck of the woods. Stocks finished lower on Wednesday as the Dow sank 240 points, the Nasdaq plunged 260 points, and the S&P lost 38 points. It was a second consecutive day of loss for the three major indexes. Inflation data published on Tuesday showed consumer prices increasing at the highest rate in 3 decades. Traders fear that the high inflation may force Federal Reserve to hike interest rates, which could be damaging for stocks. Rivian Automotive, a new-to-market electric vehicle manufacturer, held its IPO on Wednesday. Shares soared as much as 37% intraday and saw valuations exceed both Ford and General Motors. So there you go. Some stuff always going on inside of the stock market on the things that are going on. Anyways, hold on, because I need some boost in my life. Don't ask me where I find some of these things, because I'm always questioning that stuff myself as well.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, let's continue talking real quick. Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand yesterday on his own defense. He calmly explained his actions during last year's protest in Wisconsin, and then he sobbed uncontrollably as he detailed the moments that led him up to the shooting of the first man that he killed. Rittenhouse's testimony was interrupted by a flurry of exchanges between the judge and the lead prosecutor over the testimony that had previously been inappropriate that led to the exchange. The defense to ask the judge for the mistrial and prejudice, meaning that it wouldn't be able to retry the teen. The judge agreed to take the motion under advisement. So that's kind of where we left off on that one. We'll see how that goes going forward, because that's always going to be an interesting portion of this whole case and everything that is going on. I like this. When I move, I didn't realize that when I move, it moves. When you move, I move, just like that. Maybe we should get it into some locky motion, and then we don't have this whole thing of everything moving around. If you're not watching on the video side of the house, I'm talking about the camera. So don't worry about that. Anyways, what else do we have going on here? Just some other stuff going on inside of the world as we are taking a look inside of the different news stories as we are 28 minutes past the top of the hour. Here you go. Thousands of Britain's iconic red phone booths will be protected under new rule, the UK telecommunication regulation said this week. The public payphone boxes may seem obsolete in the age of smartphones, but the regulator said that they can still be a lifeline for people in need. According to Ofcom data, over 150,000 calls were made for emergency services via the phone booth between May of 2019 and May of 2020, and an additional 21,000 were made to help people during that time period. The new rule protects 5,000 phone booths in the area with poor mobile coverage from being closed down. So there you go. If you're still into the red booth, you got the opportunity to rock one out. So there you go. What else do we got for you? For the first time in a century, members of the public were able to walk on the tomb of the unknown soldier plaza to lay flowers on the sacred memorial site in Arlington National Cemetery. The 2-day flower ceremony occurred this week on the Sentinel commemoration of the memorial. As of many people, the tomb of unknown soldier has been the final resting place for 3 unknown U.S. service members starting since 1921. It also serves as a symbolic grave for unidentified and unlocated American soldiers. So there you go. And I guess we can go into the whole DNA thing, but that's just kind of me being a jerk at this particular moment in time. So let's not talk about that. And let's move and groove to some other things, because I think that this is going to be important. Let's get into our main story right now, because we're close enough to cause some damage.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so here we go. Main story of the day, main story of the things that are going on, main story of the things that happened, main story on this lovely Thursday, 11 minutes And I wish it was 11 minutes. It is the 11th day of November, but it is 30 minutes into the hour. So let's start talking. Let's start going through this whole thing. Let's start talking about our likes and our dislikes and all that kind of fun stuff that we can talk about. Let's talk about how people are people. So what should you do? Oh no, that's a song. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this new world that we're living in the world of the strange that is starting to occur. The world of everything where things are different and don't happen in the fashion that you normally tend to believe that they should. And you're probably sitting there for a moment going, what the hell are you talking about? So let me explain here. There is a new trend that we're starting to see more and more in organizations of people not being happy, of people saying, hey, if I don't like something, maybe, I will just report something on you that's entirely not true. Yes, entirely not true. And what do I mean when I say this? I'm talking about you don't agree with my politics. You don't agree with the way that I look at safety. You don't agree with X, Y, or Z. My vaccine standpoint, you don't agree with who I'm dating, whatever. You implant X into what I'm saying here. And all of a sudden, you decide, not you, but the person that we're talking about decides to report to the organization that you could be considered hostile, that you could be considered a danger to society, that you could be considered something that you're entirely not. And I'm talking about cases where people tend to disagree with other people, and they say that this is what they end up doing because it is easier to try to skedaddle you out opposed to having to deal on a daily basis on things that they don't agree with. So it makes it kind of interesting. It makes it one of those things where you don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. How is this situation going to be handled going forward? And I'm talking from a whole slew of different organizations. I'm talking about a whole slew of different things that you can take a look at, and this can be done at. Now, think about it for a moment. Let's say, for instance, because we do chat inside of the places that we work, that you're having a mass conversation. Let's say that you turn around and tell someone, I don't agree that you should have to wear a mask. Let's just use that as an example because that's kind of an easy one to do. And then all of a sudden somebody turns around and reports you to the HR department because you are trying to put people in harm's way by spreading your agenda of people not wearing masks. Now, listen, this is an example. This is not saying that this is what exactly does occur every single time. And all of a sudden, you're reported into a format of something that you never said, something you never did. And then all of a sudden, you have questions about what you're saying. And the availability of protecting yourself or referencing what is going on becomes kind of obsolete to some extent. It becomes one of those things where people are going, well, what is going on? Why are you saying these things? What is happening? So I don't know. Here's the question that I have for you. Is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? It almost gets to the point now where you go, should I even be able to talk about anything outside of work? Inside of the workplace? Because let's be realistic, the way that you're going to get anywhere is by building relationships, being great at what you do and building relationships. Is this what it boils down to? But now all of a sudden there's a concern, there's a fear of what you have going on. There's a fear of what you can do. There's a fear of what should happen next. It's a whole slew and it's a whole different world than where we were years ago. And that's what gets me concerned. How do you correct the problem? That's a great question. Do you want to get to the point that you don't talk about anything? Do you get to the point where you don't want to talk about anything that's going on besides work? It's starting to sound like it's getting close to that. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. You'll have to make that determination. I just actually sit here, have the convo, let you know the things that I'm seeing. And then we have to make the determination together of what is actually happening. We have to make a determination together of what is going on. We have to make a determination together on what we think that is going to be best moving forward. It's kind of a weird world that we're in right now. That's always the fun part. So we'll see what ends up happening in the very near future. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
You know how sometimes in life you have those moments of shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time to people. So let's talk about that very sensitive subject of male pattern baldness. Don't go through that moment where you're going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men experience some form of hair loss by the time they are 35. With more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. You don't have to be one of them. Think about this. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and my friends at Keeps offer both. Keeps offers simple, stress-free way for you to keep your hair, convenient virtual doctor's consultations, and medication delivered straight to your door. I mean, I have to tell you, just for the whole sake of not having to leave your house to have the consultation, that should sell itself, but the low-cost treatments start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Discreet packaging and proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. I want you to think about that. People love the product. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. All you have to do to take action to prevent hair loss is to go to keeps.com. That's KEEPS.com/safety to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com, KEEPS.com/safety to get your first month free. That's KEEPS.com/safety. Remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head as mine. So don't be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act on Keeps right now. If you're looking for a new dentist in Orlando, you'll love Dr. Brittany Baker and the team at Woodland Lakes Dental. Working with you to tailor your experience is their priority, and they'll partner with you to meet your goals. Passionate about helping families with options that support your desire for a beautiful and healthy smile. They love kids and offer a calming environment and an educational approach. Woodland Lakes Dental's goal is that you feel comfortable that your family has good basis for a lifetime of excellent oral health, while we help you make confident choices for your family's care. To find out more information or to book an appointment, go to woodlandlakesdental.com. That's woodlandlakesdental.com, or call 407-214-4668. That's 407-214-4668. Woodland Lakes Dental friendly staff and Dr. Brittany Baker, DMD, will take care of you.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Rated R Safety Show, 40 minutes past the top of the hour. This is Splasher. Song titled Raise Your Shoes. Song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. There you go, some stuff going on first thing in this morning. Okay, there you go. I like it. I like it. Don't get me wrong, I would listen to this. So there you go. Anyways, let's get back into it. Let's get back into some more news of the things that are going on inside of this lovely world of ours as we are talking, moving, grooving, doing all that lovely stuff. Doing all the lovely, because, that's always important. If we're not talking, what are we doing here? Because, radio show, kind of hard not to talk. So let's talk about the No-Mo avocado. Yes, No-Mo avocado. Enjoy guacamole while you can. Some chefs are moving away from using avocados in their restaurant because of the concerns of the fruit's large carbon footprint, unsustainable harvesting methods, and the role organized by crime. According to Sylvian Charbolis, Senior Director of Agriculture and Food Analysis at Dalhousie University in Halifax, avocado production is linked to loss of blood diversity, water shortage, and oh my God, this is dramatic. So it's all about an avocado. This is getting better. That's why some leaders of the culinary world are uncomfortable with the popularity of avocados, while they're trying to find ways for them to become customers happy from using other products. A single avocado requires nearly 230 liters of water to grow compared to an orange that needs somewhere about 50. Or a tomato that requires about 13 liters of water. If you're wondering about crime angles, the lucrative nature of avocados has also have an attractive drug cartel and gangs that have been known to demand protection, money, and buy farms outright, and even threaten the USDA inspectors. So hold on. I didn't realize that avocados were such a big deal when it came to this stuff. Just something to think about as we are talking, of course, in this particular regards. So I, for one, am still ready for guacamole. So there you go. And I'm very interested in hearing about what kind of substitutes for avocado a chef could come up with. I mean, sure, I suppose that other things that could be put on toast, but I mean, let's think about this. And I don't know if you've ever had that yogurt guacamole stuff that people make. I mean, some people love it. I think it's god awful. But then again, that's my opinion, and I'm a very opinionated person if you haven't realized that yet.
Duh.
So anyways, let's continue. It's entirely possible for the real reason chefs don't want to deal with the avocados any longer is because they're sick and tired of a finger off everything as they cut them open, because it's just one of those weird things on when you're cutting it open and all that kind of stuff. You got the big nut inside of there. So who knows what's going to happen there. Anyway, just some stuff to think about for sure. Anyways, coronavirus update, because we should talk about that because it's not something that's mentioned enough around here in that particular regard. So let's talk about that, because that's always important. So let's do this real quick. Many studies have found that quarantines, lockdowns, and stay-at-home orders have a huge impact on the mental and physical health of people. But new studies saying that the exact opposite. Researchers from the universities of Reading claim that the solitude people enjoyed the early part of the pandemic actually improved well-being among all ages. All those respondents noted that both positive and negative aspects of being alone during COVID. Researchers recorded more positive aspects than bad ones, including competence and autonomy and a person's reliance of their own abilities. So I now learned how to put on a spare tire. So I guess that's something to think about. And we can tie that in however you want. Vaccines hesitancy is also turning into a complete stalemate for many. According to a new survey, half of the adults who are still unwilling to get the coronavirus vaccine say that there's nothing anyone could do to change their minds. The poll of more than 6,000 people in the U.S. found that the main reason resolves around fears that the vaccine is unsafe. 18% think that COVID vaccines are more dangerous than the virus itself, and 15% believe that the vaccine won't prevent them from getting sick. It was going to add a joke here, but couldn't come up with anything to get that either. So there you go. Really some other things to think about as we are talking about it.
It begins in Orlando, Florida, and travels steadily to the west, beaming across North America and planet Earth and into your head. The world of safety never stops. And now, the Safety FM podcast and broadcast with Dr. J. Allen.
So, you know, when you hit a button and then you realize that you hit the wrong one, I think that was just one of those moments that just occurred in my lifetime, but we're okay with it. Anyways, no winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Friday's drawing will be for $53 million jackpot or a $38.5 million cash payout. So if you're into playing the game, feel free on doing so, because that could be something very important for you. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. I will talk about this because we talk about news all the time. So let me reference this. Brian Williams from NBC infamy or fame, depending on how you look at his career. The 62-year-old who landed the MSNBC after losing his job on NBC Nightly News as anchor for false claims made about wartime stories is leaving the network after 28 years. In a note to colleagues, he wrote that he has decided to exit when his contract ends in December. So, no more Brian Williams going on right there. So, just for the sake of mentioning it real quick. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world here as we are hanging, moving, and grooving and doing all the things that we normally do. So let's talk about Lest We Forget 6 things that you probably didn't know about about what? I'm not reading crap about puppies. I mean, let's move on. Let's not do that. That doesn't seem like fun. Let's talk about some other things, because that just seems kind of dull in that particular regards. Anyways, let's get you in here. Let's get some John Smalls once again, and we'll get you to some Motivation Minute, because I think it's time to do that.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Zach. Paulo Coelho said, "When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." Well said. I've heard the phrase, all boats rise in a high tide, and I think that's kind of similar. If you're pushing to make sure that you're doing the right things, you'll also impact those around you to do better as well. This also rings true the other way. If you're going down, you'll often take others with you. So if you have the choice, aim high. Find a way to better yourself and to help those around you benefit as well. I mean, what do you have to lose? This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Have you ever wondered how you can optimize your brain through working out? According to numerous research, high-intensity interval training of 10 to 20 minutes is one of the best ways to increase cognitive function. The brain adapts to high-intensity workouts. We're exposing our brain to stress, so it ends up pumping out proteins known as FDNC5, which in turn elevates brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. It produces new neurons, protects nerve cells against damage, including damage related to aging. But it has immediate effect as well. When we push ourselves really hard, the brain has to adapt to stress. The systems in the body move a lot of neurochemicals and increase blood flow to the brain. By doing a short 10 to 20 minute exercise session with high-intensity workout, you are increasing your cognitive function with substantial short and long-term effects. For to listen and more information, please visit alessamorgan.com.
What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, always so insulting around here. It's fantastic. Anyways, 50 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Thursday, doing the things that we do around here. Because if we weren't doing that, then we'd be doing something else. And then you kind of know how that goes. Because then if we're doing something else, then we wouldn't be doing this. Anyways, let me tell you the most important part that I'm going to tell you all day long anyways. So let's do that right now because this is important. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text the word TALK to 741-741. That's text the word TALK to 741-741. You can always go there and just take a look at some of the stuff that's on the website. It's so easy to take a look around. It is so easy to find out what's going on in your local chapter. You can learn more information. And the great thing about it is the website's in different languages as well. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone. As you are taking a look around inside of there. Anyway, so let's continue talking. I'm going to reference this real quick because it is something that I did find. Did you hear about this with Dr. Oz? Dr. Oz is considering a run for U.S. Senate. Sources connected to the TV doctor told TMZ that he is seriously thinking about jumping into the race for next year's midterm, as he has his home in Pennsylvania in his sights, and he would run as a Republican. So there you go. Maybe getting a little bit more Oz in places you didn't expect. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because I feel like we should do that right now. Let's take a look at 2020. The UK becomes the first European country to record over 50,000 COVID-19 deaths. It is followed the US, Brazil, India, and Mexico all together in that particular regard. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays that are going on this lovely day. Ty Sheehan turns 25, Connor Prince 27, Krista B. Allen turns 30, no relation, just in case. Adam Rippon turns 32, Vinny Gargajuan turns 34, Victor Cruz turns 35, John B. 47, Leonardo DiCaprio 47. Calista Flockhart turns 57. Debbie Moore turns 59. Half Pint turns 60. And Stanley Tucci turns 61. So there you go. Those are some birthdays that are going on today. If you're so inclined to find out which ones they are. So there you go. Anyways, 53 minutes past the top of the hour. Let me tell you real quick, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come out and hang out and do the things that we do over there. Because that is what we do. We play some music, we have some fun, we move around, we do some all kinds of other fun stuff. So you're more than welcome to come out and hang out with us and do everything that we are doing over there. So anyways, that's what it will be going on at the top of the hour, so about 6 minutes away as we move over in transition. We'll probably be talking about the 25-year anniversary release of an album that I was sending out to people yesterday for them to take a listen to. So we'll talk about that. The name of the album is... So there you go. If you want to find out, you can come up at the top of the hour and we can discuss it a little bit more, because that's always important. Anyways, let's talk about some days that you can celebrate today if you're so inclined to do so. Today is National Sunday as the dessert day, World Origami Day, and then don't forget, last but not least, it's also Veterans Day. And thank you to all the veterans out there that have done so much for us. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things on the other side of the equation, if you're so inclined to find out. Let's talk about Did You Know? Hold on, I'm going to start coughing up a storm here. I can already tell. Oh, yes. That's why you don't bite into a dry protein bar in the middle of a show. So let's talk about this. A Canadian woman is believed to be the first person to be diagnosed from suffering from climate change after doctors say that heat wave and poor air quality brought the acute breathing problem. Kyle Merritt, the ER doctor of Nelson, BC, who is responsible for the diagnosis, said that the result is a record-breaking heat and wildfires in Canada for the summer, all over her health problem, and all have been getting worse because of everything that is going on. So there you go. That's not something you want to hear. That's not something the people are all excited about talking about. I guess that's just part of the world that we live in currently. It is what it is. Anyways, to continue talking, so let's give you some whack facts real quick, just for the sake of doing so. Back in 1952, Einstein called income taxes the most difficult thing to understand. Oh, there you go. An espresso has less caffeine than a cup of coffee, 115 to 80 milligrams. It takes twice as long to lose new muscle if you stop working out than it did to gain it. The 3 things pregnant women dream of the most during their first trimester are frogs, worms, and at number 3, potted plants. On average, people can hold their breath for about a minute. The world record is 24 minutes and 37 seconds. I mean, that sounds a little crazy for me. What else? Baskin Robbins once made a ketchup flavor ice cream. I'm sure that it sold very well. Anyways, let's talk about some scoops of BS real quick before we get you out of here. The 55th annual CMAs were held last night in Nashville. We'll talk about those on Radio Big. It's country's music's biggest night, not all counting the Academy of Country Music Awards or the Country Music Television Awards and the Country Awards for Music and Country Awards for the feature, the Country Music Award Show. So there you go. The CMAs Awards were also last night at Bridgetown Arena in Nashville. Luke Bryan was the host, and Katy Perry was a very special presenter. It could watch a wide eye, honey, in anything. I like Katy Perry too, so there you go. Walmart has revealed Black Friday deals and its history, and the indication I'm not sure on how good the deals are. Walmart customers will be in line in orderly fashion and patiently waiting their turn like they do every year. This year's Black Friday's deals have been revealed at Walmart. My wife and I defer on this year on compromise, and I'm getting a diamond necklace. So there you go. Fact of the day, cinemania is the excessive desire to lay in bed all day. So, okay, my kids call it tomorrow morning. So there you go. What else do we got? So here you go. If you need a random joke for today, here we go. Personally, I don't believe the world owes me a living, although considering how much I make, I apologize. An apology would definitely be nice, for something to consider. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. It was the last really great live event of any kind that you attended. What is it? Maybe you should ask that question. If you need a conversation for the water cooler, yeah, right here hanging out next to the water cooler. Question, someone figured out that in your lifetime, you'll hurt yourself about 190 times doing this. What is it? Shaving. So there you go. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on RadioBig.fm and SafetyFM.com. If you want to come out and hang out with me, you can more than welcome on doing so. I'm going over to Radio Big right now to hang out. We can't do what we do without you. The most important part, the listener. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. In a war, there are no unwounded soldiers. Think about that. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.